Okay, so today we're diving into something pretty cool.
Oh,
We always talk about educational technology and language learning, and we've
mhm.
got our hands on a survey, and it's all about this new interactive Arabic learning module for elementary schools. Can you imagine?
Wow. Elementary schools. That's ambitious.
I know, right? And get this is like early stages. We're talking behind the scenes peek at the development process.
Oh, wow. So we're getting in on the ground floor.
Exactly. And you know me, I love this kind of stuff. So we actually have the survey itself.
No way. Let's see what they're asking.
Okay, so one thing that jumps out is it's in Malay.
Interesting. So this module is probably intended for a Malaysian context?
Right. That was my first thought. And it
Yeah,
makes you think, like, what are the specific needs and challenges of teaching Arabic in Malaysian schools?
exactly. And how can technology be used to address those needs?
Okay, so the survey is part of this PhD project by someone named Sharah, and she's really trying to understand, like, is there even a need for this kind of interactive module?
The age-old question. Needs assessments are so crucial. You can have the most amazing tech, but if it doesn't meet a real need,
It's pointless.
exactly.
It's like, what's the point? And one of the first things she asks about is, you guessed it, how comfortable teachers are with technology.
Makes sense, right? We're living in a digital world, and education is no exception.
Totally. But here's where it gets interesting. She also asks about how teachers use technology in their everyday lives, like social media habits and stuff.
Oh, that's fascinating. I see where she's going with this.
Do you? Because at first I was like, social media? What's that got to do with teaching Arabic?
Well, think about it. Understanding someone's tech habits, especially with social media, can actually tell you a lot about how they learn best.
Oh, like if they're already engaging with interactive content online.
Exactly. Videos, games, quizzes. If that's how they're used to learning outside of school, it makes sense to incorporate those elements into a learning module.
It's about meeting them where they are.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Tapping into those existing pathways in the brain.
And speaking of which, this is where the survey really dives into the nitty-gritty of interactive learning.
Okay, like, what? Give me the details.
So they ask teachers about their familiarity with different interactive methods, and they even use real examples of Arabic phrases.
Oh, smart. That gives you a much better sense of how these methods would actually play out in the context of learning Arabic.
Right, it's not just theoretical.
And by analyzing the specific phrases, we might even be able to tell what dialect or regional variation of Arabic they're focusing on.
Ooh, good catch. I didn't even think about that. This is getting interesting. Okay, so let's dive into these specific interactive elements. What are they talking about? It's really impressive how thorough this survey is. It goes beyond just asking about interactive elements in general. Like, they really want to know what should be included.
I was just thinking that. They're exploring all the different options.
Right, like audio, video, quizzes, games.
Oh, gamification. That's huge these days.
Totally. And they even ask about, like, the technological infrastructure in schools.
Oh, right, because you need to know if they can even use the module.
Exactly. Access to computers, internet, even mobile hotspots, it's all in there.
It's like if you invented some amazing electric car, but there are no charging stations.
Haha, perfect analogy. And you know what else? They don't forget about the teachers.
Oh, of course, the teachers are key
Yeah, they ask about teaching styles, comfort levels with different methods.
because it has to work for the teachers too, right? You can't just throw technology at them.
It's all about finding that balance, traditional methods versus new approaches.
Totally. And speaking of traditional methods, did you see where they mentioned rote learning? And then they ask about inquiry-based learning.
Yeah, I think they're trying to see how these different approaches could be integrated with the module.
Makes sense. It's all about bridging that gap.
And then, get this, they list out specific interactive features.
What kind of features are we talking about?
So they've got quizzes, games, and then there's this phrase, Lukba Arabia, which I had to look up.
What does it mean?
It means like Arabic puzzle or Arabic game.
So they're thinking about puzzles and games as part of the learning process.
It makes you wonder, like, were those traditional Arabic puzzles actually early forms of educational games?
That's a cool way to look at it.
Right. And then you've got things like Duolingo, which have been so successful.
People love Duolingo.
It's like they've cracked the code of making language learning fun.
It's true. It's addictive.
And a good way. And then to top it all off, the survey even suggests specific topics for the module.
Like what? What kind of topics?
They mention things like months of the year, my house is my paradise, stuff that's relevant to elementary school kids.
Oh, yeah. Age-appropriate content is so
Yeah.
important.
And you know what I noticed? These topics, they all relate to everyday life and culture.
Exactly. Because language is so intertwined with culture, you can't really separate them.
Learning a new language is like opening a window into a whole new way of life.
It's like you're not just learning words, you're learning how people see the world.
It's pretty amazing when you think about it. So we've talked about the what of the survey,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
The questions, the topics. But now comes the really juicy part.
Okay, what's the juicy part?
What does it all mean? What can we glean from this deep dive into this new Arabic learning module, even without the results?
Yeah, even without the results, I'm already thinking about all the possibilities.
Me too. And potential challenges, right? There's always two sides to the coin. It really gets you thinking about the future of language learning.
Oh, absolutely. Just imagine elementary school kids learning Arabic through interactive games and puzzles.
Right. And maybe even like virtual field trips to different Arabic speaking countries.
That would be incredible. It's amazing how technology can create those kinds of immersive experiences.
Totally. But I also keep coming back to those challenges we were talking about.
Yeah, it's easy to get caught up in the excitement, but we can't ignore the practical side of things.
Exactly. Like, remember how the survey asked about resources? That really stuck with me.
Me too, because not every school has the same access to technology.
And we can't just assume that every school has computer labs and reliable internet.
Right, and that's not even mentioning teacher training.
Oh, yeah, that's huge. Teachers need to be comfortable using this stuff.
And not just comfortable, they need to be confident. Like,
Right.
they need to know how to use this technology effectively in their classrooms.
Because ultimately, it's the teachers who bring it all together.
They're the ones on the front lines making it happen for the kids.
Absolutely. And you know what else I was thinking about? The content of the module itself.
Oh, right. Like, what are they actually teaching?
Yeah, and who decides what goes in there?
It's a valid question. You want to make sure it's culturally sensitive and representative.
And engaging, we don't want to forget about that.
No, definitely not. It has to grab their attention.
It's like, how do you strike that balance between being informative and being fun?
Right. Because if it's not fun, they're not going to pay attention.
And then all that amazing technology is wasted.
Exactly. It's like having a Ferrari but never taking it out of the garage.
Perfect analogy. So I guess the takeaway here is that technology is a tool, and like any tool, it can be used for good or for bad.
That's a great way to put it. It's all about how we use it.
And it's about being mindful of the human element.
Yes. We can't forget about the human connection.
Because at the end of the day, learning a language is about connecting with other people.
And with other cultures.
Exactly. It's about broadening your horizons and opening yourself up to new experiences,
And that's something that technology can definitely enhance.
as long as we use it wisely. Well, this has been quite a deep dive. Even without seeing the actual survey results, we've uncovered so much.
I know, right? It really makes you think about the future of language learning.
And how we can use technology to create more engaging and effective learning experiences.
While still preserving that human connection that makes language learning so special.
Couldn't have said it better myself. So next time you see a new language learning app, take a moment to appreciate the thought and research that went into it. You never know what fascinating insights you might discover.